It's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today for another Simple Stamping Saturday. So as ever, we're going to take one project and start with a quick and simple card, step it up to a more casual crafter, and then for someone who has got lots and lots of technique and substance and stuff that they can play with. So my starting point is, as ever, a note card and envelope, and I'm using the Tidings All Round stamp set, which is in the new annual catalogue. I'm going to be calling it new probably for the whole of the rest of the year. It's on page 9. You can bundle it with the all-around wreath dies, and you can also, let me find it, and I should have put a bookmark in, but I haven't. There is also another stamp set that goes with it. I think I've missed it. I think it's further back. So you can get more for your money. And we do like getting more for our money. Yes, there we are. So on page 59, there's the Seasonal Wreaths stamp set, and this coordinates with the all-around wreath dies. So let me show you both. This is the Seasonal Wreaths, and this is the Tidings All Around. So you can see there are some similarities. They're both photopolymer. This one is, the wreath is oak leaves and acorns. This one it's just foliage. This one you've got flowers as well and snowflakes, but it's not at all Christmas, whereas this one is very much more Christmas themed because we've got Christmas cheer, 'tis the season, tidings of comfort and joy, be merry and Noel. This one is more of what I would call the everyday stamp set. We've even got hearts down here and a little chick for Easter. So if you're thinking of bundling, and these are the dies, if you're thinking of bundling that, I would suggest you also get the Seasonal Wreaths, because then you've got 2 stamp sets to go with your 1 set of dies, which is fantastic. So this is the card that I'm going to show you how to make today. It is very quick, very simple, and not at all difficult. You need 2 ink pads. Real Red and Old Olive. We're going for a really traditional Christmas look. I am on Very Vanilla, which is slightly not traditional, but yeah, I like occasionally to go off-piste. So I have got my Old Olive, and I've got my wreath on my block. This is an E-block. It just fits on an E-block. You can obviously use your Stamparatus if you've got one, but I'm thinking if this is for a beginner rather than a quick project for someone else, the chances are you won't have a Stamparatus, so obviously you would have to use a block. I'm just trying to see where the crease is, because I do find it easier to stamp when my note card is flat rather than open. So I'm going to shut that now while I've got the stamp left on the card, because then the ink has got a chance to actually transfer, and actually I've not done a brilliant job there. So let me grab another note card and envelope. She says, thinking she had them on her desk. She has, she's buried them. So let me grab another note card and envelope, and I'm going to grab the piercing mat because it could well be that I just hadn't got a completely flat surface. Because obviously it could be anywhere on this base. It could be that I just happen to have it somewhere not flat. So we'll try that again, and I can use that for something else. I can cut it up for scrap. So, okay, here we go. Fingers crossed, eyes down for a full house and all of that. So I'm going to make sure I press it properly and hard. And hurrah! You see, it just means you need a little bit more pressure and maybe a bit of sponge below your card. So that's all we need that for. I'm bringing in the Real Red for Merry Christmas. No, Christmas cheer is the words I'm looking for. So we're just going to ink that up, and I'm coming down underneath and just stamping that, and again I'm going to make sure I hold that down and give it a reasonable amount of pressure before lifting up. And of course I've just remembered I also need to do the envelope, because this is simple stamping, so we always do the envelope. Now obviously you can do the envelope not just the simple stamping, but here is my envelope. I'm going to protect everything that I can, because we're going to stamp on the flap. This is what I did on the previous one, and I'm going to repeat that on the flap for this one. So out with the old olive again, ink up a good half of your stamp, and let's make sure it's fully inked, and gauge where the middle is and go for it. And again, press reasonably hard so that you are happy that the ink is going to transfer. If you just bounce, I'm going to show you actually about just bouncing, because I keep talking about just bouncing and then don't show you it. So we know that this is not a stamp that is particularly happy not being pushed properly, that's the word. So if I just bounce, even on the pad, it's not stamped well. Let me do that again so that we can see if that was a fluke or not. So let me ink this up, and I'm going backwards and forwards on my ink pad. So I'm pretty convinced that that's well inked. And let me just try that again, and I'm going to bounce, and again we've missed a bit. So good pressure, and keep your stamp in contact with the surface that you're stamping on for a reasonable length of time. Okay, we have our nicely stamped card. Let's fold it in half, get rid of my stamp mat, and get the bottom of the card lined up. And I like to try and crease it from the back, and then with the bone folder just crease, and there's our lovely card with our lovely envelope. So those are our simple, quick, simple ones. And if you are just looking for a quick Christmas card and you need, 20 of them, buy a pack of note cards and envelopes and do a conveyor belt and you're done. 2 ink pads, 1 set of note cards, 1 stamp set. Pretty good. We're going to step it up now. So this is my casual version. I've introduced heat embossing, so it's the same stamp, but I'm using Versamark ink with my embossing buddy. Copper powder, that's the word I'm looking for. Just a little strip of vanilla cardstock, and I've flagged the ends with my tailor tag. Pop that on dimensionals. I've wrapped some of the real red ribbon that's in the annual catalogue round, and I've just popped some of the red rhinestones that's also in the annual catalogue around the wreath. Matted it on old olive and then onto a real red card base. I haven't put the inner in yet because, as you know, I tend to wait until I've got that all sorted out and ready to go. I stamp it, I write it, and then I stick it in so that if I go wrong I don't have to start again with a new card. So that's my casual version, and then this is my avid version. There's actually very little stamping, but I have taken advantage of the dies because I've used this die and copper foil. I've done my stamping again, I've done my rhinestones again. I've just tied a bow and stuck that on with a mini glue dot, and I've reversed the mats. But I've also, and I don't know if you can see it terribly well, I'll see if I can get it so that you can, I've used the Seasonal Wreath 3D embossing folder. This carried over from the last autumn winter's catalogue and is in the annual catalogue now. So I've used that in the background, and certainly in real life it's really quite obvious that there is something there just behind the foil die cut. And this I've popped up with the mini dimensionals. I've just popped those behind some of these little circular, well, oval blobs, and they fit just in those spaces. So that's our sequence we have got. Quick and easy, simple, casual and avid. And the reason I'm thinking this is avid and this isn't, this requires a big shot. You're using dry embossing, you're using die cutting, so it is more involved. Whereas this, if you've got Versamark and some embossing powder and a heat gun, you can do more of those. It's more of a technique and less of an equipment thing. So I hope you enjoyed that. As ever, I will have photographs of these on my website. That is linked below. As is a list. Is that good English? As is a list of everything I've used, and I will introduce it in the order in which I've used it. I will also give you the code for the seasonal wreaths, just so you've got it. And I will also give you the code for the bundle of the stamp set and dies, because if you want both, if you buy them together, you save 10% on each, so that's always good. And I'll give you the dimensions for the casual and avid card. Thank you very much for joining me. Do remember, if you want to purchase anything and you're in the UK, then there is a link below, and I would be thrilled if you would choose me as your demonstrator. I do have a reasonable customer plan, so if you use the host code, you get some vouchers which you can then exchange for some product. I always send a thank you card and a thank you gift whether you use the host code or not, and if you use the host code you will also get some free product. So yes, if you're in the UK that would be fantastic, and if you're thinking of joining up and you are in the UK, France, Austria, Germany or the Netherlands, you can join my team and get an amazing £130 worth of product for just 99p, or the euro equivalent. 99p? No, that's not it, £99. Good grief. I'm doing too much filming today. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye!